Hello, I'm Melonie at the Vancouver Yoga Center in Vancouver, Washington, USA. And I'm here with one of our teachers, Bria, who is going to be my lovely model for this next tutorial. And this tutorial is on Warrior One, Virabhadrasana 1. And there's this age-old question. In Warrior One, should you have your heel down or should you have your heel lifted? And I say, well, it depends. What's your goal? And what's the importance, right? So I have some pros and cons of each. So Warrior One, where the heel's lifted, so she's just going to show a small mock version of this, not the deepest version she can do. So Warrior One with heel lifted, this is a balance pose. So that's, I think, a pro. I think most of us can use more balance. So, and you're much more level with everything. Your foot, your knee, your pelvis, everything's facing in the same plane. The moment we put the foot on the ground, we're asymmetrical. I mean, it's already asymmetrical, but we're really asymmetrical now. And so people plant their foot on the ground, and this Virabhadrasana 1, and they'll often be told to level their pelvis straight forward. We put the tape here so you can see the two beams of light pointing straight forward. And so let's come back up. So the first one, heel lifted, you can work on balance. You're naturally more aligned with all your joints. If you were to go into the back bend version of that pose, you're more even throughout your spine. The moment the foot goes on the ground and we start to move our pelvis forward, we're likely going to have more risk of a torque at the knee because the foot's fixed and the pelvis is going, and what's going to take the brunt is at the knee. Let's see if you could see this in the camera. I'm hoping it will show clearly of what a potential could be. Ideally, so when the foot is on the ground, I'm always taking roughly my ASIS, the front pelvic bones, and lining them up with the knee and lining the knee up with this little tibial notch, this little bony protuberance at the front of your shin bone, down through the center of the foot, this little notch you get in your foot, and out through the second and third toe. And all those kind of face each other. So when she's a little more open, that's a little bit more lined up, and there's not a torquing at the joints. But this is fixed. So if that's fixed and she takes her top part here and she starts turning it forward, what we get is like a wrung out rag, we get a twist. A torquing that happens. Right at the middle is going to be the knee, and that's going to take the brunt. So to me, it's not worth it in a group yoga class that I'm teaching to teach this pose, because this pose requires me to teach the students very intensely, like what is happening in the pose. So that takes time away from more of a flow class or in a group class. So I just opt to lift the heel and to point everything straight forward in general. Not that I don't teach it the other way, but by and large, most of the time I teach it this way. But if I am going to teach it the other way, the foot's on the ground, let's go back to that foot on the ground, and the pelvis is a little more open. Not that I'm excessively open, I'm basically lining up those points again. And then I won't give the cue to level your pelvis straight forward. I'll say keep your pelvis, but turn your belly more forward. Turn your heart more forward. Now, if you do this pose like that, it is very asymmetrical for the spine. You're in a twist of the spine. So when you do a back bend, it's a bit intense to do a back bend with a twist in it. So again, it's not my favorite. I'd much rather have the heel lifted and play with balance, work on strength and integration, and then work on the freedom of opening up into a little bit more of back bend, getting more of a hip flexor stretch, with the spine being more even and not in a twist and not in a torque. So that's just my preference. Come back towards the top of the mat. So if you're in my classes, you'll often see it like that with the heel lifted. One's not right or wrong. The foot on the ground's more the tradition, but you're still in Warrior One. You're still getting the benefits. You know, with a foot on the ground, you might get a calf stretch. You might feel a little bit more rooted, but as far as much more benefits than having the heel lifted, I don't see a ton more benefits. So that's just my opinion. I hope that answers the question, heel up or heel down in Warrior One. And again, this is my take on it. But play with it and see what you think and see what you're doing with that back knee as you do it. In an attempt to get a look of a pose, are you compromising actual joints in your body? Because that's, to me, not worth it to compromise those joints. We focus more on alignment-based, meaning we want the alignment of the body, which is supposed to be what's natural and in harmony with our body, not just a look of a pose. So we hope you've enjoyed this tutorial, and come visit us at VancouverYogaCenter.com or our website, and see some online classes, click the subscribe button if you want me to do more of these tutorials on various different topics, and we will see you soon. Be well.